Welcome to day one of the Mindset 101 course. Today we will be talking about micro goals, the very first of the 12 mental toughness tactics you'll be learning here at Trident Mindset. Micro goals are so important, are so beautifully simple, and have so profoundly changed our own lives here at Trident Mindset that they are the first tactic we cover here in this Mindset 101 course and later on in the Mindset Mastery course. To begin, consider the following question and answer. How do you eat an elephant? One bite at a time. Think about it. One bite at a time. Sure, eating an elephant would be an enormous and absurd undertaking, but there is literally no other way you could go about doing it. You can't eat the elephant 2 or 3 or 50 bites at a time. The only way you can eat anything, elephant or otherwise, is one bite at a time. Well, everything in life is the exact same as eating an elephant. You can only do it one step at a time. So there is no difference between mentally tough people and mentally weak people in terms of what they can do. Both groups can only do things one step at a time, but there is an enormous difference between what mentally strong and mentally weak people focus on. The mentally tough focus the same way they act, one step at a time. But the mentally weak focus on a million different things at once and focus on entire tasks rather than just the simple next step. Think about a time when you have felt stressed, overwhelmed, or scared of an undertaking. You are almost never overwhelmed by what you are doing in the moment. You're overwhelmed by what you think you have to do in the future. Whether writing an essay for school or running a marathon, writing that next sentence or taking that next step is never an issue. That's always easy to do. It's always manageable. The issue is when you think how you still have to write 5 pages or run 20 miles to accomplish your task. That's when you get psyched out, become stressed, or quit. Focusing on the whole task rather than just solely the next step is what leads to that loss of optimal effectiveness and optimal happiness. The same principle is demonstrated during SEAL training. Hell Week is 5.5 days long. It goes from Sunday night to Friday morning, and about 50% of the SEAL training class quits in just this 1 week. Here's what's interesting. In every class, 99% of the people who quit during that Hell Week quit before Tuesday morning of the week. So in a 132-hour-long crucible, everyone who quits does so in just the first 36 hours. How could that be? Wouldn't people be more exhausted and thus more likely to quit later in the week? Well, the reason for the early quitting is that the SEAL trainees who quit failed to eat that elephant one bite at a time. Interviews with people who quit during Hell Week reveal they mostly quit for the same reason. They'll say, I just kept thinking about how much time was left in the week, and I felt I couldn't make it that much longer. All these SEAL trainees could do was take the next step, whether it was one more lunge, one more push-up, or one more minute lying in that freezing water. But they quit because their focus was on so much more than just that next step. They were focused on having to make it 4 or 5 more entire days without sleep. And because their focus was on such an enormous, brutal undertaking, their minds quit on them. Note, their minds quit on them. Their bodies didn't quit. They don't talk of quitting because they literally couldn't walk or couldn't breathe. It was their minds, their assessment of what they felt they were capable of, that failed them. It was not their actual capabilities. Learning to focus this way learning to break large tasks into small micro tasks or micro goals is fundamental to you achieving optimum mental toughness. Don't get us wrong. To be clear, you should absolutely plan strategically for the big picture and the long term. But once you finish that planning and have begun executing, train yourself to only focus on the next micro task, whether it's writing one more sentence, doing one more rep, or studying one more fact. Give that micro task everything you've got, and then when you're done, simply move on to the next one. Never allow your focus to wander beyond the very next step. This applies to work, school, physical training, everything. You have unbelievable capabilities, but your mind will quit on you before you reach your potential if you give it the chance. Your mind is conditioned both by evolution and by society to conserve energy and avoid hardship. So when your mind considers the struggle and energy that will be required to accomplish a challenging goal, it forces you to quit, panic, or stress. So don't give your mind the chance to hijack your goals. Discipline yourself to only focus on the next micro task. Consider this. No one you admire has ever accomplished anything remarkable. Again, no one you admire has ever accomplished anything remarkable. What they actually did was accomplish hundreds or thousands of small steps and tasks that eventually combined to be something remarkable. Babe Ruth didn't walk up and hit 714 home runs. He hit one home run, and then another, and another, and another, and all those singular, focused efforts added up to an incredible body of work. Babe did things one step at a time, and so must you. So never again set out to do something big. If you're doing something truly challenging, focusing on the bigger picture will be too daunting, stressful, or scary, and your mind will harm your happiness and effectiveness. You should only ever set out to do the next micro goal, and then after that, the next one. And if you have a good plan, you can trust that those little things will eventually add up to something meaningful. Now, we'll deep dive this in the Mindset Mastery course, but we want to mention now that micro goals are one of the most useful tactics to employ when you're feeling stuck in a rut or a dark place. Whether you're stressed by school or work, overwhelmed by your responsibilities, or just feel like nothing's going right, it's easy to feel hopeless. We've all been there. When you compare where you are now to where you want to be, and the gap seems so large. When you realize how much work and how many steps it will take to get there, so you become paralyzed. You don't even try. You stay in bed all day, you avoid your friends, and you stay anxious, stressed, and overwhelmed. But you do not feel hopeless because you are incapable of achieving your goal. You feel hopeless because your mind has quit on you. So know this, whoever you are, whatever situation you're in, there is only one thing you can do: the next step. So break your goal into micro goals. Focus only on the next small task, and piece by piece, reclaim your life. If you're in a dark place, just get out of bed. That's all you have to do. Focus entirely on getting out of bed, and only that. No matter what is happening in your life, you can manage to get out of bed. Now that's done. What's the next micro goal? Make your bed. Good. Do it. Then drink a glass of water. Then get some sunlight. Take a shower. Think of one happy memory. Go for a walk. Apply to one job. Text one friend. And before you know it, you're up, moving, attacking the day, and reaching your goals. No one has ever run a marathon by running 50 feet at a time. Things can only happen one step at a time, so only allow your focus to be on the very next step. A key difference between people with optimum mindsets and those without them is that the mentally tough know to focus on just the one step in front of them rather than the 25 miles left to go. So determine your path, break it down into manageable microgoals, focus entirely and intensely on accomplishing just the next microgoal, and rinse and repeat and rinse and repeat, and watch your happiness and effectiveness reach new heights. Onward. And for us at Trident Mindset, onward means that even though it's 2 a.m., we're going to finish editing another 2 lessons because we made the commitment to do that today. When we still had an hour left of editing this lesson and it was already 1 a.m., it would have been easy to get flustered that we still had so much work to do. But we didn't think about that because we use microgoals. We just focused on creating one great sentence, and when we finished that, we focused on creating one more great sentence. And that's what we're going to keep doing until eventually we look up and see that the job is done. This stuff works, and it applies to everything. Now, for real this time, onward.